New this morning, students in the state's largest school district are no doubt thinking of a new future after this week's major announcement about the Columbus Promise. The program will grant free tuition to Columbus State Community College for any Columbus City school student who graduates from high school. So you can imagine there are lots of questions about all of this at a meeting for parents.
Yes, CCS held a meeting basically answering a lot of those questions, like how should you set up your child's college savings plan? But more importantly, if I did save for my child and now I don't need that money in the 529,
what do I do?
What do I do with the money? Tim Gorrell is the Executive Director of College Advantage, Ohio's 529, joining us this morning to talk about this. Certainly big news for a lot of parents, but a lot of questions here, Tim. So how do we leverage that 529 account if we don't need it anymore because of Columbus Promise?
Well, I don't know if you necessarily won't need it anymore. I think there are two givens here, that an education opportunity after high school is necessary for a majority of people. And the second part of that is going to cost. The Columbus Promise appears to get at the first part of that, of offering an education opportunity at Columbus State University. And many people, after that 2-year experience, may go on to another education experience, for instance, going on to Ohio State University or any of a number of the state education opportunities in Ohio, whether those be trade schools, technical schools, 2-year public-private colleges or universities. So in that time, if you're using the Columbus Promise at Columbus State University, your 529 is going to continue to grow. And there's no shelf life. There is no limitation of whenever you need to use those funds. And so maybe that's right after the Columbus State experience that you're going on to education entity, or maybe a few years down the road. So those funds will be available for whatever those education opportunities may be.
And then can you talk about the flexibility of Ohio's 529 plan? I mean, is it possible to change a beneficiary if you would need to, if the child you had it for doesn't need it anymore?
Yes, absolutely. It is very flexible, and maybe you start saving for your firstborn child, and then there's other children that come along, and so you don't use all those funds for that child to become the beneficiary. Very easy to switch it to other beneficiaries. If you're a grandparent saving for your grandchildren, switch it among grandchildren. Very broad definition of family members of where you can use those funds for.
Is it that flexible, Tim, though, the 529, that if you don't want to use any of it for anything education related, that you can put that money towards something else and not get penalized?
Well, no. If you do withdraw it, which is an unqualified withdrawal, in other words, that you're not going to an in-state or out-of-state education opportunity that has a federal code, you can you're going to pull those funds out, and you're not using it for tuition and fees, room and board, computers, books, those expenses associated with that education opportunity, and you do pull it out, you will have to pay tax because it's after-tax dollars that are invested, and you would have to pay tax on your earnings, and there would be a 10% penalty. But if you've been saving all these years and your funds have been growing, and you end up, we're not going to use it for an education opportunity, in all likelihood, you're still probably going to come out ahead.
Great advice, Tim. Thank you so much. A lot of parents may be saying, okay, maybe I should start that 529 regardless. So
all right.
Thank you for joining us.
Start today.
Start today. Great advice. Thank you so much for joining us.